Carroll O'Connor. You won't believe this. Carroll O'Connor, one of the most beloved TV dads in history, once admitted that he absolutely despised his co-star Rob Reiner. We're not talking about a little friction on set. He literally said, "I've never hated anyone as much as I hated Rob Reiner." Now, how does a man who brought America together through laughter hold on to that kind of bitterness behind the scenes? Let's rewind and find out. Carroll O'Connor was born John Carroll O'Connor on the 2nd of August 1924 in the Bronx. He grew up in a tight-knit Irish-American family where education, storytelling, and tradition weren't just nice ideas, they were the backbone of everyday life. But his childhood wasn't all warm family dinners and funny anecdotes. Like millions of Americans, he lived through the Great Depression. Those struggles left a mark, shaping the way he understood people, class, and hardship. And years later, those insights would bleed right into his acting. O'Connor's early years were filled with study. He went from Wake Forest University to the University of Montana, with his plans briefly interrupted when he served in the U.S. Merchant Marine during World War II. That time at sea wasn't glamorous. It was tough, disciplined, and exposed him to human behavior at its rawest. After the war, he returned to school and eventually earned a degree in English. At first, he thought he'd spend his life teaching, but fate had other plans. By the 1952, Carroll moved overseas to Ireland. He studied at University College Dublin and soaked up theater like a sponge. He jumped into stage productions, sharpening his timing, voice, and presence. Those years abroad laid the foundation for a career that would later skyrocket in America. When he came back to the States, the 1960 became a grind of small roles, guest spots on TV shows, and supporting parts in big movies. You can actually catch him in Cleopatra, 1963. What Did You Do in the War? Daddy? 1966, and Point Blank, 1967. He proved he could switch from drama to comedy without missing a beat. But the big break hadn't come yet. Then, the 1970 hit, and everything changed. The role that transformed Carroll O'Connor's life and American television was Archie Bunker in All in the Family. From 1971 to 1979, O'Connor played this Queens working-class guy with opinions as strong as his accent. Archie was stubborn, prejudiced, and loud. He said the things most TV characters never would, and while another actor might have been scared to play such a controversial role, O'Connor leaned in. He made Archie not just funny, but layered, sometimes even sympathetic. You hated him, you laughed at him, but deep down, you recognized him. All in the Family wasn't just a sitcom. It tackled racism, women's rights, the Vietnam War, and class inequality stuff that had never been discussed in prime time. The show exploded into a cultural phenomenon, and O'Connor walked away with 4 Emmy Awards for his work. When All in the Family wrapped, he wasn't done with Archie. He carried the character into the spin-off Archie Bunker's Place from 1979 to 1983. But Carroll was no one-trick pony. In 1988, he reinvented himself again as Chief Bill Gillespie in the Heat of the Night. That role showed the softer, more thoughtful side of O'Connor, a man learning and growing in a racially divided southern town. He wasn't just acting by then, he was also producing and writing, proving his talent ran much deeper than one famous role. But Carroll's story wasn't just about television. His personal life had its own highs and heartbreaking lows. In 1962, while working in Rome on Cleopatra, Carroll and his wife Nancy made a life-changing decision. They adopted a little boy, naming him Hugh after Carroll's brother who had died the year before. This wasn't just adoption, it was a way to carry on a family legacy. As Hugh grew, he naturally gravitated toward his father's world of television and acting. Carroll even created a role for him, Officer Lonnie Jameson, in the Heat of the Night. It was his way of keeping his son close and giving him space to shine. But tragedy struck in 1995. Hugh died by suicide after battling drug addiction for years. Carroll was shattered. Imagine losing your only son, the child you named after your own brother. Instead of retreating into silence, O'Connor turned his grief into action. He spoke out in public service campaigns, sharing Hugh's story and warning families about the dangers of drugs. That vulnerability, that willingness to use his pain to help others, made fans love him even more. And yet, through all of this, the fame, the family, the heartbreak, one thing Carroll never let go of was his dislike for Rob Reiner. Now, Rob Reiner wasn't just anybody on All in the Family. He played Michael Meathead Stivic, Archie's liberal son-in-law. On screen, the tension between the two characters was hilarious and electric. But off-screen, it was personal, and it was ugly. Carroll admitted that working with Reiner was like a constant grind. He thought Rob carried himself as if he were the smartest person in the room, always standing on some moral high ground. Carroll once said, "Rob always thought he was smarter than everyone else, just because he played the liberal son." For a man like O'Connor, who prided himself on authenticity and craft, that rubbed him the wrong way. He saw Reiner as arrogant, dismissive, and even disrespectful. He didn't feel like they were friends or even partners on set. He felt like he was constantly battling not just another actor, but someone who was trying to undermine him. That tension spilled into their scenes, but instead of ruining the show, it actually fueled the chemistry. Archie versus Meathead became one of TV's greatest rivalries, and audiences couldn't get enough of it. Still, for Carroll, the dislike never softened. He carried that resentment for years, even admitting late in life that his hatred for Rob Reiner was stronger than anything he'd felt toward anyone else. It's wild to think about two men creating iconic TV magic while secretly despising each other every step of the way. Carroll O'Connor's life came to an end on the 21st of June, 2001. He died of a heart attack in Culver City, California, after years of complications from diabetes. He was 76 years old. He was laid to rest at Westwood Village Memorial Park Cemetery, right in the company of Hollywood's greatest legends. On his gravestone, there's a touching tribute not just to him, but also to his son Hugh, symbolizing the bond that defined so much of his personal journey. Carroll O'Connor wasn't just Archie Bunker or Chief Gillespie or any single role. He was a man of contradictions, compassionate yet fiery, professional yet deeply personal, someone who could make millions laugh while quietly carrying his own grief. And yes, he was also someone who could never forgive Rob Reiner. Now here's the question. Do you think that real-life tension made All in the Family even better? Or was it just a toxic behind-the-scenes mess? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I'd love to hear your take. And if you enjoyed diving into the life of Carroll O'Connor, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell so you never miss the next deep dive into Hollywood history.